Thank you, Enolia. That was absolutely beautiful. Prepared the space that we can work in and discuss. We're just a few friends here today. This is an open space. Everybody is totally free to give their comments and to add their ideas. What we are here to do today is to discuss and to develop some ideas towards building a prototype of this installation art piece that I've been building for the last 4 years. I'll give you a little bit of background, and in fact we come back to the bookmark because this movie that I've been making in Bosnia has taken the last 7 years to make. In fact 8 years, because since the day that Dr. Samos Managic, who is the one who discovered and developed the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. You may or may not have heard of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. Jerry?
Yes.
You know through me, perhaps?
Yes, and I've heard of some people who've gone and done meditations there, but I don't know that much about it.
So the Bosnian Pyramid Complex raises questions about our real history on Earth, especially pointing to the age of our archaeological structures and how old we as a human race really are compared to quote-unquote standard history. Having met Dr. Sam at a conference in South India in September 2016, I was invited to come there and make a movie about the place. He didn't really know what he was getting into, and nor did I, because it took me 7.5 years to actually come back and show the movie that I made on the Bosnian pyramids. Because I wasn't just going down there and taking visuals and going back to the studio and editing it out into something pretty. Really, I wanted to capture or try to discover or to go deeply into the energy of the place, to feel it, to capture that, and to find a rhythm, find its rhythm and put that into the movie. And in order to do that, I made 3 pictures which capture in symbol, shape, design, energy, the meaning of the pyramids. And those are the pictures, in addition to another 5 pictures that I'd made prior to that, that would become the Magician's Jewel. So this is not a side story, this is totally pertinent to the Magician's Jewel. What I'm going to do is take out those pictures. It's my little box of goodies here. Just to give you an idea. These of course are just photographs which have been enlarged and printed on a kind of plastic canvas that I can carry around the world with me. I started making photo collage art back in 2005 when I was studying under the High Tibetan Lamas in Kathmandu. My Lama, my teacher, His Eminence Chökyi Trichin Rinpoche, who was one of the very great masters of Tibet, old school, very accomplished, one of the teachers of His Holiness Dalai Lama. I had the great fortune to meet him and be accepted as his student in Kathmandu back in 2001. And after some time, he advised me to go on a trip into the High Himalayas, nearby the border of Tibet, to a valley where there are a lot of Tibetan monasteries. You'll find in the High Himalayas in the northern parts of Nepal, it's very close to the Tibetan culture, whereas in the southern part of Nepal, it's very close to the Indian culture, because Nepal borders Tibet, China to the north, and India to the south. Nepal is like a staircase. So you start off in the plains of North India, about 200 meters above sea level. You climb up, you have the middle hills. Again, that's very Nepalese culture. Then you climb up again. Once you get to the real snow peaks at 8,000 plus meters above sea level, so 25,000 feet, you're into the Tibetan culture, although geographically speaking, it's still inside Nepal. I was actually going to do a meditation retreat for a month. So we discussed about the meditation retreat, what you should focus on and how you should do it and blah, blah, blah. But as I was leaving the room, his attendant called out to me, Susan, Rinpoche is telling you, take photographs. And quite by chance, another Lama had given me one of the very best Japanese Pentax of the 1960s, but the light meter didn't work. And I am not a trained photographer. So I had a few very short lessons from a friend who said, you have to focus the camera on the object you want to take. If it's shadowy, then you have to adjust the aperture speed like this, the shutter speed like that. If it's very bright light, you have to adjust the... So every photo I took, I had to try and understand the quality of the light and to adjust the aperture and shutter speed accordingly. And of course, I made a lot of mistakes, but they were very fortunate mistakes, because as a result, I was capturing rainbow lights pouring into the valleys, monasteries surrounded by halos of light and this and that, nothing that the eye could see, but that the camera gave me a chance to see. So I got obsessed with this photograph thing, and as I was moving around, I was doing my retreat, and I was staying in different places in the valley. I was doing 4 sessions a day of meditation in different places. But I was capturing the valley as I was going around. A very nice lesson that I had was, there's one very prominent mountain at the back of the Muktinat Valley, which is where I was. And I started to notice that everywhere I went, this mountain was somehow prominent. But it was only when the photographs were developed that I really got it, that if I was standing here, the mountain would look like that. If I was standing there, the mountain would look like this. If I was standing closer, it was bigger. If I was standing further away, it was smaller. And I was like, this mountain is always the same mountain. It's always the same size, it's always the same height, but depending on where I stand, I will see it differently. So that got me really, really into the question of perspective, how perspective is changing the way we see things, which are one way, but when we look at it from this way, we're going to see it from whichever angle we are positioned at. Very interesting point. So I came back to Kathmandu and I printed all these photographs. I had literally a pile of printouts, 1,200 and something photographs. So I'm like, it would be such a waste to put these into a drawer or just to leave them, you know, in a pile. So I thought, I'm going to do something with them, but I don't know what. And I scattered them around the floor and sort of just look at them as I was moving through the room. And, you know, 1 or 2 just started jumping out at me. And the ones that were jumping out at me, I'd put to one side, put to one side, put to one side, put to one side, until I had like a little pile of sort of special ones. And then I started to arrange them. It just kind of naturally came into like a cross shape, and I started to make shapes with them. And I thought, I can't leave it like this on my floor forever. I need to stick these photographs onto something so that they will stay in the same place. So I thought, I'll get some plyboard. So I had a local wood place cut up some plyboard into these 2 cross shapes. And I thought, well, I can add something to this. I can make them like 2 keys. So I made these kind of key shapes, because what I had decided at this point is I'm going to express the meaning of the elements in this picture. So I'm going to put all the photographs to do with the space in the center. I'm going to put the ones to do with the wind here, the fire here, the earth here, and the water here. And this is according to the highest tantric yogas of Tibetan Buddhism. This is the process of the tantric arising and dissolving of the elements. And then using the shapes and the colors that are associated with the elements according to the highest yogic traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. So I made the wind a green bowl shape, the fire a red triangle, the earth a yellow square, and the water a white circle. Then I was like, this looks like 2 keys crossing. So at that time I was also studying the nature of non-duality, and I wanted to express how these 2 things were one, so it became 2 keys, 1 lock. This was my first photo collage art piece. But it wasn't nice that the photos were just placed on the plyboard. I thought I'll put some cloth, put the color of each of the elements cloth, and then I'll put the photographs. Like this, I developed this idea of photo collage art. My first picture was quite simple. I was just playing around in a sense. So this developed into a second picture, because I thought, now I could do an exhibition with these things. So then I made another one. Pure vision transformed into organized confusion. This was a long picture. Now I put all the elements on top of each other and I created a side section on each side where I could show the mechanism, the whirls of the energy in the channels. After we moved to India, I developed another one. I got involved in a film project on the river Ganges and I was taking lots of pictures of water and I was really into the symbol of Om. And I thought it's 3 Sanskrit letters, A, U, M. I can make A the form world, so I can use solid water, ice and snow. The U is liquid, it's like formless. So I could use the textures of water that I was taking on the river Ganga. And then the M is like the sort of ephemeral realm, and I could use cloud. So we've got solid, liquid, gas. So I made an Om figure with these water pictures. And so it went on. The next picture, the 4th, Rainbow Symphony, Union of Sound and Light. This big double tetrahedron. And then the 5th one, Key of Life. And this is actually a multi-dimensional shape. It looks like a sort of carton. It could be a 4-sided carton, also in there is a 3-sided carton, also in there is a pentagon, and if you look deeply in there, it's multi-dimensional. You know, I'm telling you all these things now. You don't have the pictures in front of you, but I'm just giving you an idea of what I created, and some of you have seen my work, so you understand what I'm talking about. Terry, you haven't, but I'll show you some more detail afterwards. I'm just giving you background. I'd already made 5 photo collage art pictures. We're talking about tactile stuff here. On plyboard, covered with cloth, you know, you have to glue, your fingers get sticky, then we've got the cloth going onto the glue. Then we're making the shapes out of hard cardboard covered with cloth. You know, the shapes which are pertinent to the focus of the picture that I'm working on, and also the symbolic meaning of the focus of the picture, like this. And then on top, the photographs, the theme of photographs. Okay, so 5 pictures were already made. Then we move on to the Bosnian story. And so I'd already been making these kind of pictures, and I decided when I went to Bosnia to make this movie that I would continue this. I would use a picture to capture the meaning of the Bosnian pyramids in symbol, in color, in energy, in rhythm, in measurement, in, you know, all these things into the picture.